Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 179 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Barry.
And I am Claudius Pera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
I have this sneaking suspicion that our panel guest, Michael Bernasian, stays up at night coming up with ideas so he could come on the show. And you know what? He's back on the show because, once again, he has a really interesting idea for the Kiss Army Nation podcast. So we are calling this episode But For That One Song. In other words, Kiss albums that we think are near perfect, except for that one song that keeps it from being perfect. Or an album that we really like, but we think it would benefit greatly if that one song were not included. Sounds like a great idea. It was a great idea. So let's get into the discussion.
And of course, it is always good to see again, a regular panelist, Patrick de Montigny, our dear friend. And as already mentioned in our recurring guest panelist and source of ideas,
Yeah.
Michael Bernasian. So good to see you guys again.
So, Michael, again, if this was your idea, get us started. What are the rules?
So I got the inspiration for this podcast, for this idea from another podcast. So to be honest, I'll give a shout out to the Contrarians podcast. They had an episode similarly titled, but they kept it open. So there was no scope in terms of a band or an artist. It was like any albums that you have in your collection that you think are perfect or that you love a lot, that would be near perfect, except for one song that really doesn't do it for you, And again, like happened with a previous episode, I was like, within 5 minutes, I was like, oh, we can do that for Kiss. So there we go. So I like stealing ideas. So yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table 3 times. We've each picked 3 albums that we think fit this criteria. And we're going to explain why we feel that one song ruins everything. And, the other people can chime in if they agree or not. So the rules here are fairly simple. There's albums in contention and those that are not in contention. So those that are in contention, any Kiss studio album or any Kiss official live album. There could be a live album that you think, oh, it's fantastic and perfect, except, if they could have just taken that one out or not included that one song. So Alive 2, Alive 3, Alive 4, Kiss Symphony, Kiss Rocks Vegas, all those count.
MTV Unplugged.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Albums not in contention, any of the solo albums, obviously the 78 solo albums or any Kiss-related band member solo album, any compilation album, example, Double Platinum, not in contention, the 2001 box set or another box set like the Destroyer box set or the Creatures box set. So really down to the basics. Kiss studio albums and Kiss official live albums in contention. So that's pretty much, those are the rules that I put forward, and let's see what happens.
Let me tell you that you explained it very clearly, but it was not an easy task. I'm telling you, right? It was not an easy task to go through the catalog.
It never is, but it's fun.
It's true. It's true. So before we get into this, I would like to know from you guys, and this is becoming really, really interesting. Is there such a thing as the perfect Kiss album? Michael, your idea, you go first.
I think perfect albums are different things to different people, as this episode is most likely going to show what I consider to be perfect, or, that tickles my fancy. Pasquale may say something else.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, for me, it's like, okay, a perfect album would be like an album that I enjoy completely, from beginning to end, and not just a few songs. Sometimes you have albums where it's like, you like half of them, you don't like the other half, or you like half more than exactly. I mean, I try not to skip, but it is, that's one of the things. So a good flow, to the album, from one song to the next, and it all kind of gives you pleasure. Also, I find that good production and mixing of an album helps. My favorite example to explain this is Saint Anger by Metallica. I think the songs are great, but the mix of the album and the way the album sounds is, I mean, it's right. It's terrible. But the songs are the songs I enjoy, But so if there was an album in the Metallica catalog that they can re-record under better circumstances or with better sound and mixing, it would probably be that one. So good production value and good mixing value, that helps also in terms of, for me to consider an album to be top tier easily or top shelf. So those are my criteria. That's usually how I go about it.
So on Kiss, did you find more than one perfect album in the catalog?
Oh, geez.
Or at least one.
I would say there are. Yeah. I mean, I would say easily any of the first 6 studio albums for me are perfect. I mean, so basically my 3 choices are not any of the first 6 studio albums, but when I went through the albums, doing this exercise, to prepare for this episode, first album, oh, I like everything. Second album,
right.
Oh, I like everything. Dress to Kill, oh, I like everything. So, yeah, I mean, my choices were fairly easy. Let's put it that way. So.
Okay. Pat, what about you?
A near perfect Kiss record. I'm pretty much with Michael on this one. The first album, I'm talking the version without Kissing Time. I'll get into that later.
But before we get into the near perfect,
right.
What's the perfect album?
The perfect album for probably Dress to Kill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I like every song on that record, and I think it's very cohesive. It's all rock. There's no ballads. There's no Rock and Roll Night if you consider poppy, but I mean, otherwise I think it's from beginning to end. It's very consistent. So to me, that's the perfect album.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay. Fair enough. We're gonna get into the near perfect later on. So, Pasc, what about you? Perfect Kiss album?
That's difficult to say because it depends on your criteria. I mean, if you ask a musician, they will have a different answer. I don't have that musician's ear, so for me, it's an album with songs that move me emotionally. And it's funny that sometimes when an album has a really strong start with a lot of good songs, it keeps me going to the very end, and my emotional level is up throughout the entire album. And I tell myself that is a perfect album.
Okay.
A couple of Kiss non-related. The second to last Angel album, the title escapes me. But oh my God, what an amazing record. It has some really beautiful songs on that album. And some songs are not as great, but because I was riding the tidal wave of those first few songs, I was on a high throughout the entire album. Give me a year from now, I go back to the album, I might not do the same thing. The same thing with the last Dokken album, the last Scorpions album. Oh my God, love those records. To me, perfect. It made me feel great listening to them, And it's it's the same thing with Kiss. It changes all the time.
Okay.
But I was about to actually message you guys and saying, should we tell each other what we're going to talk about before we go on the air? Because I'm afraid we're all going to have the same thing, right? Are we all going to choose from the first 6 albums? If we do, or we did, we don't know.
Right.
It's all going to be the same. But so let's see what happens. But like Pat was saying, you felt that the first 6 records were near perfect, or the first 3 were near perfect. I think 1, maybe 2 of the first 6 were near perfect.
Okay.
And the rest of the few songs that I would skip through, or it's like, if I'm on the record player, hurry up, get on with it, let's get to the next song.
Okay.
So it's not a fair question. It's not a fair question to ask if it's near perfect. It's very subjective, especially when it comes to music.
Yeah.
And it depends on the moment in time in your life that you're listening to that particular record that will dictate how you feel about it at that particular time. So some of my answers is because I've been listening to the records recently for this episode.
Yeah.
And these records, like, oh, it really geared me up. And oh my God, I love it. But oh my God, think off this song. So I was really having fun. I was really having fun doing the research on this one.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful homework to do. That was great.
It was.
That was great.
I mean, similar to, when we did the Deep Tracks episode, I was waiting for, okay, when is the first repeat going to happen? We had, like, I think Pasquale, I think it was you who chose Raise Your Glasses as one of your Deep Tracks. And I was like, oh, I got that one too. That's going to be a repeat, So I'm interested to see here if if any of us choose not just the album, but the same song from that album.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Right.
that we would kind of, throw in the dustbin kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just to wrap up this question, just to get us going, I'm with you guys. It's a very subjective, way of kind of putting a label of, perfect album. To me, it has to be the whole package. In this case, I remember we once talked about covers and stuff, but I think this time around we're gonna concentrate on the music. And to me, as Michael was saying, it's not only about the songs, but also the sound and the production and how it flows. Because sometimes there's albums that have really, really great songs, but I don't know, for some strange reason, uh, kind of it doesn't flow as it should. And in the case of Kiss, I found myself actually like identifying three uh, to me perfect albums. Okay, and looking at the sound, the way they play, the songs, the singing, the execution, and all of that. But I have to say that if there's one album that basically shows what Kiss is, and I've said it many many times. To me, it's Kiss Alive. To me, that's the ultimate masterpiece of what Kiss means, and the way the mixing was done by Eddie Kramer with the audience. Now we know that it was almost a, a lab experiment, but this is even better because it really sounds as it's as if it was recorded live for 100%. So, but then of course there's other stuff from Kiss, um, but we're gonna tackle that in the next questions. Pass on to you.
Okay, so let's begin our panel discussion with our first choice of Kiss album that we believe would benefit greatly with the removal of just one song. This time we'll start with Patrick.
Okay, my choice would be Love Gun because the reason I love Gun is the fact that all four members are clearly featured on it. Not everybody like Ace and Peter each have one song on the album, but to me, it shows the entire Kiss, sort of like a Beatlesque concept where all four guys sing. And but the one song that prevents me from calling it perfection is that cover. Then She Kissed Me. I have nothing against bands doing covers. That's almost every band does it. But for some reason, I never thought Kiss chose the right one, except maybe God Gave Rock and Roll to You and perhaps 2000 Men and King of the Nighttime World. But aside from that, covers are so it ends the album and it ends it like on a sour note, I think. I understand that probably they were lacking material because we got to bear in mind that they were releasing albums every 6 months, whereas now the standard is every 6 years, basically. So I understand that maybe there was a shortage of material and they had to come up with something, but I have a hard time believing they didn't have a demo somewhere that sat down at, that could have been better than that.
Oh yeah.
So that's the reason why Love Gun is near perfect, because of that very one song.
Okay. Michael?
all right, so I'm going to go chronologically with my three choices. So my first album that falls into this category is this one, Creatures of the Night.
Okay.
Okay, so I love Creatures of the Night. It was an album that brought Kiss back to rock music, to heavy rock music, bordering on heavy metal. And I think every song on the album belongs on the album. This was actually my toughest choice. The other two that I'm going to talk about in the next rounds were easy choices. It was like, oh yeah, there's no doubt about this. This one I kind of struggled with a little bit, but at the end of the day, I am going to say that if there's one song that kills the vibe on this album for me, or kills the momentum, is I Still Love You. I don't not like the song. I do like the song, and I especially like the song when performed live by the band, especially in the 80s, because it was kind of this song that they would use usually in the middle of the show, or 70% of the way through the show, to kind of slow things down a little bit. It's a different kind of intensity. Let's put it that way. But I just find that for this album, when they were trying to regain their rock audience and their show that they were a really gutsy band again after albums like Dynasty and Unmasked and The Elder. I think the album would have done better with another up-tempo song. Yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, I like the song. I do enjoy any show that I own that has that song in it. I enjoy the performance of it. Paul definitely gives 100% every time he sings it, but I just find that on the album it kind of breaks the flow a little bit and kind of takes away a bit of the momentum, especially the way it's sequenced on the album. You have I Love It Loud, which is like the song from the album, very powerful, very definitely a song you sing along to, and then the next song you have is this down tempo, ballad kind of thing, I was like, okay, and then the next song comes in and okay, you're back to, something up tempo, and then the album finishes with War Machine and, definitely up tempo, off to war we go, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the one I struggled with to include or not to include, but in the end, I did include it because, quite frankly, I couldn't find another example. So it's like, yeah. So for me, Creatures of the Night, and there's other songs from that era that I think could have easily fit on this album. Like, Not for the Innocent was demoed at this time. It ended up on Lick It Up, but right. I think that song could have probably been a better fit. It is similarly, heavy and mid-tempo and dark lyrics, or so kind of the mood kind of fits as fits the album as well, so that's my first choice. I Still Love You studio version from Creatures of the Night. If not for that one song, I think Creatures would be easily a perfect album.
Okay.
Claudio?
Well, in my case, for the three choices, I went with the first choice. I have to say that I put them kind of in a ranking. Like, to me, the first choice it's almost the perfect album, except for that one song, and it was tough. I almost go with the same choice as Pat, but because I have the same, I'm going to mention in question number 2 or 3. But to me, question 1, it's the self-titled album, the debut album, Kiss. Well, we don't have to go into the details, but these guys, they keep playing these songs over and over again. They're all classics, except for Love Them from Kiss. Okay. That song there, I think, even if it's great, I don't think it really belongs, for almost the same reasons as what Michael was saying about I Still Love You, of course, with a different perspective. But I don't know. To me, I'm going through the songs and I'm quite excited. Every single song sounds like really Kiss, the raw, innocent and aggressive sound. But then when they play this song, it kind of brings me down a bit. So again, just not to elaborate too much, except for that song, to me, the debut album would be a perfect match. Yeah.
Guys, I warned you, it's happening already. So when I edit this video, just put Pat's voice over mine. Exactly the same. I also chose Love Gun.
Sorry, Pask.
And I also chose And Then She Kissed Me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like Kiss's version of that song, but it doesn't belong on that album. Every single song is kick-ass. And then it ends on that note.
Yeah.
No way. Kiss has released albums with 9 songs. They could have done the same with Love Gun. It wouldn't have mattered as much. If they did that and removed Then She Kissed Me, I would have then rearranged the songs a little bit. I would have started the album with Love Gun, and I would actually end it with I Stole Your Love.
Oh.
Start it with a high, end it with a high. Nice. And everything. And that's what I was talking about before, right? Once you get that momentum going, and never stops, man. And then when you end it with "I Stole Your Love," it's like, oh my god, I want more. Amazing album, but no, you have to put it. Then She Kissed Me.
Yeah.
I don't get why they did that, and I understand maybe there's not enough material, and the running time was already what 30 minutes. It would have been under 30 minutes without that song. You know, it was short, but so what?
Dress to Kill is under 30 minutes.
Yeah, quality over quantity, right? Who cares? You know. So yeah, that to me would have been the perfect album, and I could almost say the same thing about anything of the first six. You know.
Yeah.
But I have to choose one. It's Love Gun, and then She Kissed Me.
But it's interesting because when, I guess we all listened to it, but when they released, the version of Love Gun with some of the demos there, there were much better songs than She Kissed Me there. They could have put anything. I don't know. To me, same thing. I don't know why they did it. Anyways, so time for round two. What is your second choice of Kiss album that you believe has that one song that shouldn't be there? So, Michael.
All right, round two. So my second choice, or my second album that I'm going to choose, and the second I choose this, Pasquale is going to laugh.
Oh, wow. Okay. One
so
song?
Well, hang on a second.
Only one?
Song.
Only one. Yes. Hear me out. Hear me out, please. So when Pasquale and I did the episode "Let Me Know" for the anniversary of 35th anniversary of Hot in the Shade, we talked about a number of things. One of the things we talked about was, how does this album rank in your hierarchy of albums? So top tier, middle tier, bottom tier. I came to the conclusion that Hot in the Shade for me was an album that bordered on middle tier and lower tier. The main thing that I said that I included in there was that if there was one song that they could have removed that could easily have put this album for me personally as a middle tier album, in other words, not a perfect album, but a very good Kiss album, an album that brought them back to rock and roll and hard rock after a number of years of doing glam metal and hair metal and et cetera, et cetera. This album brought them back to maybe not the original Kiss sound, but close to it. But the one song that absolutely should not be on this album is the very last song on the album, Boomerang. This song is an abomination. It doesn't do anything. This song tries to be many things, and at the end of the day, for me, it's nothing. I don't know what Gene was thinking when he wrote this. I think he wrote it with Bruce Kulick. I'll give Bruce a pass. He's a nice guy, but I don't get it. It's like, and I listen to albums usually beginning to end, so I never skip. I try not to skip a song. And Pasquale, as I said to you when we did that episode, every time I listen to this album, I'm like, okay, maybe this time I'll like Boomerang. I've easily listened to this album double-digit times. I've never liked it. As far as I'm concerned, it should not be anywhere except the garbage. Okay, this is easily one of Gene's worst songs ever that's been released. The rest of the album has a nice flow to it. It has a nice kind of overall rock and roll and even a blues feel to it, at times. And that was one of the things we talked about, or that I mentioned earlier, a good flow from one song to the next to the next. Boomerang doesn't sound like any of the other songs on the album. It really is this anomaly that, I don't know, they decided to tack on at the end because Paul had 7 songs and Gene only had 6. Oh, we need another Gene song. Okay, here's this one. I don't know. No. I mean, easily. I mean, this could be a middle tier album for me. Good, not perfect, but good. An album that got Kiss back on track.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine this album ending with 14 songs, and the last song is Little Caesar. Eric Carr's only lead vocal contribution to Kiss. I think that would be a better way to end this album than the piece of trash that Boomerang is. I'm sorry, I do not like this song. It's one of my least favorite Kiss songs.
It's clear you don't like it. Yeah,
it is very clear. If you didn't know it from the Hot in the Shade anniversary episode that Pasquale and I did, well, you know it now. So yeah, this was not a difficult decision. In fact, this was the first one where I was like, oh yeah, that's the one. Because, absolutely. Yeah,
I think you came up with the topic for this episode because of this song. That's why.
just so that I can vent again about this song. Yes, exactly.
I love it. I love
Exactly. No, look, I mean, in all seriousness, I'm going a little over the top here, but really, this song doesn't belong on this album. It's not, in my opinion, it's not good. And like I said before, it's very different from all the other songs. At times, it almost feels like it's trying to be a prog rock song. And it's Kiss. It's like you're not Yes, you're not Rush, you're not Genesis. What are you doing? You know, it's like, come on. I mean, this band, the T-shirt I'm wearing, Iron Maiden sometimes get crap for trying to be a little too prog rocky, but even they do it better than what Gene was trying to accomplish with this song. I don't know. Anyways, I'll stop now because I don't want to get hate mail. But yeah, this song is easily as disposable as they come with regards to Kiss songs. So, Hot in the Shade, a good album, except for
that one song.
Boomerang.
There you go.
Patrick, what about you? Second choice?
Second choice, Revenge. And I'll tell you why, because I was glad to see Kiss going back on, for my standards, going back on the right track. They stopped trying to be a pop band, get back to what you were, a dangerous band. And they proved that they could do it without the makeup and all the rest. That being said, the one song that is Every Time I Look at You. Now, I'm not a ballad person to start off with. I have nothing against if a band does one or two, but I don't like the idea that, that every album must include the ballad. It sounds forced. It sounds like, okay, we're going to have to do another Forever. And I'm not saying it's a bad song. You listen to it, and it's good to listen to, but I mean, I wouldn't have included that on the album. You're making a statement. You're back with with a force that you haven't had in a decade.
Yeah.
Now you throw that in. I know it's probably a request from the powers that be that I can't prove, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were the case. But totally useless for me. Totally useless. I wish Revenge would have been the hard rock album from A to Z, zero ballad. That was perfect for me because the rest is Kiss is in top form.
Yeah, it's one song better than the other. Yeah, it's yeah.
But then you get to that and you go, Every Time. It just made the move for me. And they played during Unplugged. That is Unplugged maybe is a better vehicle for that type of song, but not an album that you make a statement saying we're back.
Yeah,
I mean, in my opinion, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the time for Paul to shine, as usual, just to put in there. Okay, got it. Pasc, what about you? Second choice?
Okay, so for my second choice, this time I want to edit in Michael's voice and put it onto mine. I'm not even joking. I came prepared. Okay, Creatures of the Night. I Still Love You. I Still Love You. Out. Oh my God. Comeback album. One hard rock song after the next, and then that whiny I Still Love You. I hate that song as much as Michael hates Boomerang. It's
so much.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I just find it whiny. I appreciate Paul's voice in that. My God, what he does vocally in that song is incredible. But that would have been a perfect album if they put in something like what we heard in the rest of the album, some kind of hard-hitting song. I think it would have been perfect. But if they insisted on doing a ballad, I would say something closer to Revenge or Patrick. Every time I look at you. That kind of ballad. Reason to Live would have fit better than I Still Love You. Anything but I Still Love You. Even the Peter Criss Psycho Circus song better than I Still Love You. No, I would have taken that one out. But that's one of those songs I don't. Every time I listen to it, it's like, I'm going to get into it. No, that's an album I would definitely skip. I was playing it on the CD. And that's the part where I go to the washroom if I'm playing it on a record player. I'm doing the dishes during that.
Yeah, because it's long.
Too.
That's
good.
It's
long too. Yeah. I see what they were trying to do, but for me, I remove that song for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to as part of the homework, I had some backup plan. I had like 5 or 6 albums that I think it could be nearly perfect. So I'm not gonna choose the same as Pat because I already had in my list Love Gun with Then She Kissed Me. Uh, I also have Revenge, but I have Revenge with well, we can argue if this is a song or not, but it's in the album. It's the Car Jam 1981. Okay.
Mm.
Um, I love Eric with all my heart. Such a great member of the band. Nothing against him, but to me it doesn't fit. To me, it could have been better to put a song from Eric, even if it's a demo, than putting, kind of a jam, with I think it was him and Ace. I don't know at that time, but it doesn't gel to me with the album. So I'm close to what Pat was saying about Every Time I Look at You, but to me, Revenge, it's an almost perfect album, any way you look at it. But this Car Jam, the way to wrap it up, I know it's kind of a dedication to Eric, but it doesn't fit in the album to me.
All right, listen. Okay, third and final round for the Kiss record. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna go first on this one because now when I edit this freaking segment, we're gonna take Claudio's audio and put it over mine. Again, guys, I'm not joking, man. I'm not joking. Hey, listen, for me as well, and I thought this was sacrilegious taking off Car Jam 81, but I felt that it was a bit of a slap in the face using that Eric Carr Jam as a throwaway song in a
Yeah.
sense on this album. And I don't believe it should have been there. It sort of broke the flow of the record and it really slowed it down at the end. Again, I see what they were doing, but it shouldn't have been in there. Now I thought about this. You know what would have been cool? That rest in peace, Eric. I mean, what they should have done. And Eric recorded a lot of songs at that time that was not released on a Kiss album.
Right, exactly.
How cool would it have been if the band released an Eric Carr solo album in his tribute after his passing? That would have been incredible. The ultimate tribute to an amazing drummer, an amazing person, an amazing asset to Kiss. It would have been incredible. That was an afterthought. And I think, in my opinion, Eric deserves so much more than that.
Hmm.
So I would remove that.
Well said.
Claudio, back to you. What do you think?
I had two, but I have to pick one because that's what the rules are, and I'm gonna have to pick Dress to Kill. Don't Kill Me, Pat, because I love that album. Again, to me that's pure rock and roll. But if I could replace one song that I don't like it so much, because I still like it, but not so much, it's Anything for My Baby. It's I don't know. I find the chorus, a bit, boring. It's not that the other songs have a lot of elaboration because it's pure rock and roll. 2.5 minutes, songs, and that's it. But I think they could have put something else there instead of Anything for My Baby. And just in case one of you guys you pick the same one, an almost perfect album to me, except for one song, it's the MTV Unplugged, and I would remove Domino.
Domino.
Yeah, Domino. I could remove Domino. I went through the song list, and it's funny because they mess up, and they played it again. We know the story, right, about all of that. But to me, that's a song that doesn't really fit into the atmosphere of what MTV Unplugged was about. But yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Patrick.
Third round. I would say Alive 2.
Oh no, that's not no, you can't. You
Yes, you
can't.
can. Yes, you
I,
can.
yes, I can. I think Michael said we could do
Oh,
that.
the live albums. Yeah,
live
yeah, you're
official,
right.
official live albums. Yes,
Official live
absolutely.
albums. So sorry about that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait
all
to
right.
hear what your choice is, but
me
okay,
too.
let's go.
You can.
Anyway, I was gonna sing the Journey song. Any way you want it.
Hmm.
No, you're all that I want.
You're all no.
No,
No,
sorry,
anyway you
that's
want
not
it.
unmaxed.
Any way you want it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway
you're
you
right.
want it. Na 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 na.
Again, I understand why maybe they did a cover because last minute they decide to say, okay, let's bring out some extra material. So, but again, that song is such filler. Again, I maintain my point that Kiss doing covers, it's hit or miss. Most of the time, miss. I hate to say. Uh, to me, it's like even when I was a kid and I was listening to that, I was like, "What's this?" Because I knew it wasn't their own song. I was like, "What's the purpose of this?" I heard rumors. Again, I cannot confirm that. Originally, they intended to record, I think, Jailhouse Rock as a tribute to Elvis, but I have a hard time believing that. But I wonder if that wouldn't have been a better choice than that song. I don't know why they chose that. I really wonder what made them say, "Okay, we got to record that and put it on the side 4 of Live 2." But that to me is like, you have the bombastic experience. Even the other 4 songs on that,
Yeah, they're great.
really, really good. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
end up with that. It's like even especially at the end of Rocket Wire where Peter does a da, 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 and then you go da 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 any way you want. No, no,
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
trying to figure out the purpose of it, and I just don't get it. But that's if some people dig it, that's okay, but not for me.
But
I-
it's interesting because as Paz was saying before, sometimes the sequence plays a lot. Maybe if they could have thrown that song, I don't know, in the middle or somewhere. I agree with you. It's not great, far from it. But just to wrap up the album with that one, that's a real miss.
But
Yeah.
Patrick, I was surprised you chose that album because I'm thinking, okay, what song is he going to choose from the live set? I didn't think we could choose from the side 4.
Did I cheat?
no,
I don't know, Michael. That was
No.
It was a live.
No,
right?
no. It's
But-
it's still
Right.
it's no.
Okay.
No. Let's not make that cheating. No. I mean,
Okay.
it's part of the album and it's officially released. Material. And yes, I tend to agree. I mean, I think Jailhouse Rock would have been a great addition to the album to end the album and as a proper tribute to Elvis, or just have the 4 songs. I mean, ending with Rocket Ride probably would have served it better. But I mean, I don't hate you're all that I want, or any way you want
It's
it,
not
or
like Boomerang.
whatever. But I will now be known only for this. So no, I agree. I agree with Patrick. I mean, if there's one weak link on that album, it would be that cover song. But it's not the end of the world either for me. But yeah, I agree. For me personally, also that's a weak link.
Yeah, just because I couldn't imagine taking out a song from the live part of the album. That's what I was curious. It's like, what is he taking out from the live version?
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare.
That's what we
No,
were shocked.
not
We
you,
were-
man.
Yeah, we were
77,
shocked.
78. Not
Exactly.
you, my friend.
Exactly. Shocking moments here in the Kiss Army Nation podcast. All right, so Michael, third choice.
Okay, my third choice. So I'm surprised actually at this point in time that we've been recording this, how many times this album has come up, given how much people love this album generally in Kiss world. But I'm going to sound like Patrick, to be perfectly honest, because my third choice comes from Revenge, and it is Every Time I Look at You.
Wow.
This is a song that I think would have been better served on a Paul Stanley solo album. It is a good song, but again, this song affects Revenge the same way I Still Love You affects Creatures
Features.
of the Night. It brings, it's kind of like, gut punch, gut punch, gut punch, gut punch, handshake. And to an even greater degree, because it's more of a ballad and a softer ballad than I Still Love You is. I mean, the only heavy part of Every Time I Look at You is the solo. which is a good solo, and which I learned today actually is not played by Bruce Kulick, but actually by Dick Wagner. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, again, Revenge was supposed to be an album. I mean, Hot in the Shade started Kiss back on the road to being a rock band, heavy hard rock band, to try and regain that audience. And Revenge was like kind of the solidifying blow kind of thing. It's like, where every song is like heavy and with purpose. And then you get to Every Time I Look at You, and it's like, okay, here's the commercial song that somebody probably asked for from the record company so that they can have a hit single and all the ladies will like it. No, I mean, I think at one point Patrick used the word forced. This was, it feels forced kind of thing. Well, it feels forced to kind of like cattle prod in a ballad in the middle of an album that is, for all intents and purposes, supposed to be a return to form for the band. I mean, look at the picture. They're all dressed in leather from top to bottom. I mean, what kind of image are you, what are you expecting the music to be with a picture like that? You're expecting every song to be hard hitting. You're expecting every song to be fast, up tempo, gritty lyrics, etc., etc. And then you get that song. Again, I don't hate the song, but I don't think it belongs on the album. I think it, much like I Still Love You, I think it does a disservice to the rest of the album. Now, someone may say, "Oh, Michael, you don't like ballads." Well, no, I think Forever works perfectly well on Hot in the Shade. I think it meshes very well with all the other
same
with all the other songs.
Same with A Million to One on Lick It Up.
Yeah, exactly. Even Reason to Live fits perfectly well on Creatures of the Night.
Yeah.
Whereas with Revenge, it's like yay, 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 yay. Even Car Jam at the end. I don't have anything against it. Yes, a full album of Eric Carr songs released at the time would have been a perfect tribute, but not done. But yeah, even that musically fits better than Every Time I Look at You. And it's interesting, actually. It's funny. A couple of days ago, I found a video on YouTube of the performance that Kiss did on Music Plus in 1995, the day before the Montreal Kiss convention. They did like 5 or 6 songs at Music Plus, and I started watching it, and I'm like, oh, I haven't watched this in such a long time. And I started watching it, and I was enjoying it, and then the last song was Every Time I Look at You, and I was like, okay, fine. If I want to watch the whole thing, I got to sit through this song. So I sat through 5 minutes of Every Time I Look at You, and it came to an end. It's like, okay, fine. You could have done an acoustic version of Rock and Roll All Night and, ended it proper, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't write the set list. So yeah, so my final choice is Every Time I Look at You off Revenge, put it on a Paul Stanley solo album. The World Is Good.
Okay. Fantastic. And well, gents, for our final round, outside of the Kiss world, do you have any albums by other artists that fall victim to the "but for that one song" syndrome? So, Pask, this time it's on you. So, what did you pick?
There's a lot of records to me that I could have chosen, but I picked one of significance. When I got into Kiss in '76 with Destroyer, I was obsessed with Kiss. All I listened to was Kiss. I knew nothing else. I listened to nothing else. My friend goes, "Come on, there's other stuff out there. You have to listen to this." And he introduced me to the first Van Halen album. Whoa, my God. Talk about the perfect album. That song kicked my butt. And I became a huge Van Halen fan after that. There wasn't just Kiss. There's other amazing bands out there. And they're called Van Halen. So, and I listened to that. I listened to that album so many times. I love it from beginning to almost the end. On Fire, the very last song. I found it was just a throwaway song.
A filler. Okay.
Yeah, just I don't know, almost like a bookend, I guess. I didn't think it was like a proper song. It was just a song to sort of let's see how we could end this album with a bang. And I didn't think it did. But It was a bit of a kick-ass song, and if you remove that, I feel like you couldn't end the album on Ice Cream Man. So you'd have to do some rearranging. Maybe end it with Eruption.
Oh yeah, okay.
That would have been cool. Seeing
Right.
Eddie Van Halen's talent at the end of the album. I think that
Right.
would have been awesome. But my God, what an incredible album! What an incredible band. Their first 6 albums? It's like the Kiss first 6 albums. Just beautiful, beautiful records, man. So yeah, except for that one song, the first Van Halen album.
Okay, fair enough. Michael?
Okay, so like Pasquale said, there are a number of albums I can choose here, but I just decided to handpick 3, and I'll go through them quickly. I'm a big fan of the Rolling Stones. I have everything by them. They have a lot of great albums, some which I would consider masterpieces, especially from the 1968 to 72 period. All of those albums, and including the live album, are excellent. Their next album after Exile on Main Street in 1973 was Goat's Head Soup. An album that is underrated in my opinion, because I personally think all the songs on that album are great, except for the song Winter. Maybe it's because I don't like winter. It's my least favorite season. I don't know. But this song doesn't really, I mean, it's a good song, but I just think it's kind of the odd song on the album. The only good thing I can say about it is, Mick Taylor's guitar solo is brilliant, as most of his solos are. But yeah, that song could probably go away and I probably wouldn't lose sleep over it. Another band I love a lot is Queen. Again, a band that has a lot of masterpiece albums. One album that they released in the latter part of their career was The Miracle in 1989, a great comeback album for them after A Kind of Magic and the last stadium tour that they did. So this was the first album they did after that tour, and they started making music at a frantic pace because Freddie Mercury didn't have long to live. The Miracle is a great album almost from beginning to end. The penultimate song, I suppose, not the last song, the one before, My Baby Does Me, it doesn't do me. It's not that great a song. I can see how it kind of fits in the flow of the album, but I would have preferred something different. And there's other songs that they've put out officially from that period that, in my opinion, are way better than that song that they could have included. And the last choice I'm going to make is from a band that I got into because of Kiss, the Donnas. The Donnas were on the Detroit Rock City soundtrack with their cover of Strutter, and I got into their music. All their albums, in my opinion, are fantastic and near perfect. The one album which for me is almost near perfect is their album Gold Medal, which I believe came out in 2004 or 2003. There's one song on that album, Revolver, which also to me doesn't really do it for me. Every other song on the album is fine. There's even an acoustic song, one acoustic song they ever did and put out officially on an album, which I believe fits better than this song, which doesn't really, it's also the penultimate song. It's like, it's not the last one, it's the one right before. So it's like you're almost getting to the end of an excellent album, and then you get a song that it's like, oh, okay, this doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and then it finishes on a high with a really great song. It's like, take that one song out, put it aside, and so that's it. So that's 3 quick choices from me.
Nice. Patrick, what about you?
Well, I'm sure I could come up with other ones, but the first one that came to mind was Motley Crue, Theater of Pain. Now, a lot of people hate that album, but I personally enjoyed it, except for that one song, again, a horrendous cover of Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Okay.
I don't know. I again, if some people dig it, that's all right, but just for my, come on, you got all this other great stuff and you throw that in. I understand, I'm not sure about that, but apparently it was Vince Neil's idea. It's like, no, use another song, because you have songs like City Boy Blues, Keep Your Eye on the Money, which I think is good stuff, Louder Than Hell, which they still played up until the last tour. So there's good stuff on there, but that one song is just, not for me. I'm on a band that does covers, that does a cover song, it's a very, very dangerous path for me because it's hit or miss, and if you miss, that's so it's sometimes it's better than the original, but not all the time. And so also I question the choice. Why this particular song?
Mhm.
So I'm not against the idea of cover songs, but choose wisely. So that for me kills the album because I like the rest of it, Fight for Your Right and stuff that Motley Crue never plays. But it's a great record for me, except that one song that sort of kills the momentum. It's at least it's the favorite, it's the second song. So after that, you're good.
Okay.
And interestingly, it was the lead single off that album. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the first song that was
Yeah.
released, and the video. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy the song. I mean, it's all fine, and it's good live and everything. I've seen them play it live a few times. But yeah, I understand why you're saying that,
Yeah.
Patrick. And overall, it's a great record, underrated.
Right.
Save Your Souls is a fantastic song.
Oh.
I mean, they'll never play it live, but my
Oh.
God, it's like, you had a good day when you wrote that song, So
And a quick one also that comes to mind is Poison's first album, Look What the Cat Wrecked In.
Yeah.
Fan of that record. Not for everybody, again, I realize that. But the one song that is I Won't Forget You, Babe. I Won't Forget You. Like, it's a ballad type of thing. It's like, because the rest of the album, again, kicks, and it's the lesser known songs. Blame it on you. Da, da, da. Blame it on you. You got that great stuff. Almost sounds close to being punk rock.
Mhm.
Then you got that obligatory FM song. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah, those are the two that come to mind.
Okay, great. Well, just to wrap it up, I'm going to go quick. I came up with three choices. I love I really love Zeppelin. To me, it's all of those, all of the albums, to me they're masterpieces. But if I have to pick one song that I could maybe change from the first album, from Zeppelin 1, it's Black Mountain Side. All of the others are, in your face, but this one slows down a bit. But I don't know. I strongly suggest that maybe you can listen to it and let us know what you think. Then from Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, great album to me. I love it, except for the Prophecy. I don't know. It doesn't click with me. I skip it every time I listen to the album. And then from the Beatles, to me, the best album ever that they created. To me, they were in the pinnacle, in the summit at that time with Revolver. But I could maybe replace Dr. Robert. To me, it sounds more like a joke. It's the short and funny song, but it doesn't gel with the rest of the album. So yeah, those are my three choices.
So I just want to make a public service announcement before we end the show. So Kiss Army, stay tuned for the next episode of the Kiss Army Nation podcast discussion panel, where we're going to spend a full hour discussing Boomerang with special guest Michael Bornasian. Coming
I
soon.
love it.
Coming soon to a computer near
soon.
you.
you will learn new swear words, guaranteed.
I love it.
Actually, on a serious note, we could do the backwards of this episode. We could do an album, what album of Kiss do you not like, but there's one song that you like?
Yeah.
There's one song that saves the day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We could do that as well.
I
But
like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
okay, there we go. We have something. We have something for in the next month or two.
An album that we don't like, except for that one song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kiss Records.
Yes.
Ooh, that'd be
Is it
tough.
possible?
I don't know. That'd be tough.
Hmm.
Even Carnival of Souls, there's quite a few songs I like off that album.
Yeah, well, maybe we can come up with
Yeah.
you like I don't know, a little bit more than 50% of the album or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
you
see.
never know. That
We'll
could
see.
be it. But yes, you can do the opposite of this
Yeah,
concept,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
like, oh, I can't stand that album, but that one song,
Yeah.
which was the hit single or
Yeah,
something, or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
that's
I also like the stuff that we were talking about songs, and we're feeling so great here amongst all four that we're even singing. So maybe we can do one episode. How about that?
I choose Boomerang.
Okay, guys, this has been great, man. As usual, it's been thank you, Michael. For the topic, it was really, really fun. Always interesting to get different opinions. There were many things that there were kind of copy paste, I have to say, as Paz was saying. But once again, thank you, guys. It was great. Thank you.
Great minds think alike. Look at it that way.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, this was a fun episode because we were just not taking it seriously and just having fun, and this was really cool. Thank you, guys. A lot of fun. All right, to the Kiss Army. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that your favorite song is Boomerang. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Until the next time, remember, rock the Boomerang. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Podomatic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is about you, so please like and subscribe to support the amazing guests we have on the show. See you soon, Kiss Army.